Hello, and welcome to Odds on Premier League. It's match day 19. We are halfway through the season. We hope you all had a fantastic Christmas, like Liverpool, who is at the top of the tree in the Premier League. Chelsea dropped 5 points in 4 days. City continues with their awful run. Forest, for sure, would like to freeze the table as they are in Champions League spots. Manchester United and Tottenham, they are in a mess. Plenty to talk with Tom Rennie. Good morning, Tom. How are you? Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Good to see you. And my only quibble with your intro is that I wonder if Nottingham Forest aren't thinking about Champions League qualification. They're thinking about the Premier League title. Why not? 10 wins in 18. If Chelsea can do it, so can Forest.
Absolutely. Guys, stay with us. Press the like, subscribe, and now let's go on with the show. Guys, you make sure you can start leaving your comments, messages, telling us your bets, also your takes on every single game on this match day 19. Tom, we start with the Leicester Manchester City. For 15 minutes, only for 15 minutes, I think I thought we had glimpses of the old City back. Foden looked lively. Bernardo was making runs between the fullback and the center back. Savinho was taking on defenders and not passing the ball back all the time. However, it just took one cross from Everton to score, and from there, City went back to crisis mode. Haaland missed a penalty in the second half. 10 goals scored in the first 5 games for him, and only 3 goals scored in the next 13 matches. Since actually the 28th of September, I was reading Guardiola is the goal scorer of City with 4. So it's just one win in the last 13 in all competition for City. Leicester last night, for the third time in a row, went to Anfield and scored first in the opening minute. But of course, they left empty-handed. 2 of their 3 wins for Leicester have come at the King Power. Can they realistically think of getting the third home win of the season against City?
No, not a chance. Leicester City are very bad. They are very bad. And I think from the Liverpool game, from the Wolves game, even the West Ham game, which they won under Ruud van Nistelrooy, it's evident they've made a mistake. They've made a mistake in bringing someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy in. I don't know if he's a good manager. Maybe in a year or 2, he might be a good manager. Maybe he wants to be a manager and will go through the leagues and go through the countries and all of that. But right now, what Leicester need is a really experienced hand to try and navigate through games where they've just got to nick points. Maybe 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐻, who's gone to Southampton, it might have been a better bet for him to go to Leicester, because Leicester have a chance of survival. Southampton on 6 points have absolutely no chance of staying up. But they've gone for Van Nistelrooy, and you watch them against Liverpool, you watch them against Wolves, they concede so many shots. So many shots. They are poorly organised. They don't have a lot of quality, and they are going to concede in every game 2 goals or more. And that is not how you stay in the Premier League. 40 goals conceded at the halfway stage is diabolical. That's, 80 plus goals they're going to concede this season. 3 and 3 and 4 and 2. Only West Ham didn't score more than 1. And if you saw that game, they should have scored about 15. It was a strange anomaly. Yeah. So issues with Leicester. And as well, there was no Hermansen in goal, which meant they've got a bit of a crisis in goal because they had a young goalkeeper on Premier League debut at Anfield. Does 𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐴 come back into play? The fans hate Danny Ward, so he's not going to play. So all sorts of issues there. And Jamie Vardy is a massive doubt as well. And, Patson Daka done all right at Liverpool, but Jamie Vardy remains someone who's very threatening. I think 6 goals in the Premier League this season. So Leicester have got all sorts of issues defensively and offensively. In terms of Man City, I think your analysis was right in that you could see the sprinklings of the old City, but the confidence is so low. And the only thing that gets you out of a funk like that is wins. Wins. Think of City at this moment as Villa or Everton or West Ham or Newcastle, a mid-table team who are underperforming. And what they need is a goal to go in off the backside of the centre forward, or that Haaland penalty to have gone in and get through that game. Think about City Southampton a couple of weeks ago. They just need that win. If they can get 3 or 4 of those together, the old City returns. But at the moment, that is proving very difficult. Offensively, they are struggling. Kevin De Bruyne apparently can only play like 30 minutes every week. So how unfit is he? The supporting cast are not stepping up in any way. Injuries to Grealish and Stones and Walker and Nunez and Bob and obviously Rodri. Illness involved in that as well. So what's the team going to be? We've got Pep Guardiola saying we need to add players, which is extraordinary considering the gargantuan wage bill they have. But that's the position they put themselves in. So lots of issues for both of these teams. In terms of the form guide in the Premier League right now, these two teams would be in the bottom 6 of the Premier League. I think it'd be 15th and 6th and 14th, respectively, in terms of the last 5 games. So not a classic to be expected here, but my faith in Leicester is almost zero, and I feel like City are going to be able to grind something out. So up top, take the City win at 138. I think that's fine. I'd be looking at City to score multiple goals here only because of Leicester's bad defending. I'd expect Forest, who don't score many goals, or Fulham, or Brentford, or whatever. I think anyone going to Leicester now is going to have 20-plus shots on goal. So look at the shots market, 15 or 20-plus shots for City, and they'll score 2. I would go for 3 goals scored here, and the City win. That's going to bring you to near double your money. That's going to be worth a bet.
And also, I know, Tom, that City have kept only 1 clean sheet in the last 12, I believe, but it's not Leicester the one who's going to threaten them the most in attack. But City to win 2-0, 275, which is not bad at all. As well, in the comment section, Levy going for Man City. Actor saying that midfielders are lacking confidence. Those defense splitting are not happening at the moment. And also, there our producers pointing 64% change for over 9.5 corners in the game, 1.6. So that is Leicester, Manchester City. The next one, Tom, we have is Crystal Palace, Southampton in South London. Palace 3 points above the relegation zone. Another draw on Boxing Day. No one has drawn more games than Palace and Everton this season with 8 each. Basically, almost half of their matches have been draws for Palace. With Bournemouth, they couldn't make it 3 consecutive away wins after the Brighton and Ipswich wins. They lost 2 of the last 10 Premier League games. At home for Palace, only 7 goals scored. Only Ipswich has scored less with 6. Southampton, yes, new manager Ivan Juric, you mentioned, Tom. First match was anyway a defeat against West Ham, bottom of the table, week 6, have not won a single match away this season. So everything is pointing to Crystal Palace here.
Yeah, I won't be betting on Southampton to win at any point for the rest of this season. I'm not sure I've done it more than once in the campaign to this degree because they're just no good. They're just no good. In terms of their squad, I said this on week 1. I'll say it on week 19. The Southampton squad is not good enough to be in the Premier League. They don't have any Premier League quality players. They have some potential in someone like Dibbling. They have a good squad player in someone like Flynn Downs, maybe. But in general, I mean, they have Ramsdale now, who's a good goalkeeper. They didn't have him at the start, but you don't stay up on the goalkeeper alone. They do not have a Premier League squad. Period. The end. It doesn't matter who you bring in as a manager, and they have 6 points. They have 6 points. It's January in a few days. Not a chance. On God's green earth, they're going to stay in the Premier League. So they're wasting my time. In terms of Crystal Palace, look, I think it's commendable. There's a few teams. West Ham are in this mix. Newcastle been in this mix. They're doing it more offensively.
Yeah.
They were all a bit like, oh, we could be in trouble here. We've got to get some results over Christmas. I don't care what it looks like. Get some results. And Palace have done that fantastically well across the last few games. Was the Bournemouth game watchable yesterday? No, it wasn't. It was appalling. But Palace did everything they could to get something from that game. Look, forget Arsenal in the league. That was an anomaly. Arsenal can do that to you if they score in the opening 10. Think about the Brighton game. Think about the draw they got before that against Newcastle, the draw they got before that against Man City, the win against Ipswich away from home. All really ugly performances. But credit to them. They realised, yeah, we could be in some trouble here. Points are what's needed, and they've got them. 𝐿𝐴 at centre-half, been fantastic. 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿 suspended for this one. That could be a problem, but I still think that Southampton's lack of goal-scoring ability will mean that that's going to be navigatable for Crystal Palace. And up front, 𝗀𝗵𝐿𝐴 has been scoring again as well. So all that coming together means they have been grinding out good results in unwatchable games. I expect this to be the same. Look at the underscore market here. As you mentioned, they're one of the lowest scorers at home in the Premier League this season. So look at a Palace win, first and foremost, take that at 1.63. Then a Palace win under 2.5 goals. And look at win to nil. That's win to nil on its own, or look at 1-0 or 2-0 or under 2.5 goals. Crystal Palace in a shocker of a game. That's what I predict here.
Yes, and also Levy, Crystal Palace, and under 2.5 goals. Those two combined, Crystal Palace and under 2.5, I think is close to 3.4, which is quite amazing. Southampton are the new Norwich, so Palace should win. Actor Palace should win. So everyone, yes, Tom pointing that direction. Crystal Palace should win at home against Southampton. So now we move on to the third game, which is Everton against Nottingham Forest. Best start to a top flight campaign for Forest. They are third in the table, 4 consecutive wins for them, and they have already amassed more points than in the whole of last season. They have now 34 points, and last season they gathered 32 in 38 games. They have won 10 matches, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show. Everton, like Palace, 3 points above the relegation zone after the 1-1 against City, 1 defeat in the last 7 for them, although just 1 win and 5 draws in that run. There is parity for the bookies almost here, Tom, so I don't know. I guess they are pointing to a draw. Everton have taken 10 of their 14 points at home in Goodison Park, and they have scored 15 goals all season. And then you have Forest, who have conceded only 19 goals, which is, I think, 2 more only than Liverpool. Will you go to, or will you point to goals under market in this one, Everton, Nottingham Forest?
Oh, yeah, there's not going to be many goals here. I'd be staggered if there was more than 2 goals in this match, because both teams are built on the quality of their defence. And Everton do have purple patches in the season. If you think about the last campaign, the first 2 months before the points deduction, they were very, very good. Without the points deduction, they would have come safely in mid-table last season. Where they're going to finish this season? A lot of that has been built on defence. Everton this season, 22 goals conceded is under the average. It's over 1 goal per game, but you take a couple of thrashings out there, the 4-0 against Man United, they're conceding around a goal per game, bar a couple of anomalous results, which is not too bad. And the current run, 0-0, 0-0, there was a 4-0 defeat, a 4-0 win, 0-0, 0-0, 1-1. They are hitting proper 𝐻𝐿𝐴 form, and there's not a better example of what a Sean Dyche team is than the last minute against Manchester City, when suddenly they've got a break on. It was like 4-on-2. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 running down the left wing. There's a minute or so to go to win it, and he just turns back, and they play it back to the halfway line, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀 blasts it long, and they give the ball away. They're not really interested in winning, which I know is frustrating, but a bit like some of the other teams I've mentioned already on the show today, grind the points out over Christmas, be over the 20-point mark by the time you get to January, and you're going to stay up, and you can start thinking about what's next. And that's where Everton are. They just want to wipe this season off, get rid of it, get into their new stadium, change the manager, change the players, get rid of their debts, and move on from there. This will hopefully, for Everton's sake, be the end of the crisis years, but they just need to navigate this season and stay in the league, and they will. In terms of this game, Dwight McNeil remains out to the current report I have, and so that's a problem for them, because without McNeil, there is just no creativity in this team at all. I know they've got a great goal from 𝗀𝗏𝗏 a couple of days ago, yesterday. What year is it? Where are we? Against City. An amazing goal. He's a good player, but I think Dwight McNeil brings a lot more to the team. Without him, they're going to struggle. For Forest, similar story in terms of defence. 𝗵𝗫𝐿 and Murillo are no longer the best-kept secret in the Premier League. Everyone now is realising what a good partnership that is. No Ryan Yates for this game, so maybe James Ward-Prowse comes in. That will be a loss, because Yates will kick you off the field, and that's really important for what Forest do. Gets away with foul after foul after foul after foul, but eventually we'll get enough bookings for a suspension. And look, Chris Wood's dried up a little bit, but Elanga is nicking one. Hudson-Odoi is nicking one. Gibbs-White is involved in everything good about Nottingham Forest. So the balance is there with them. And my only concern really for them is that, are we starting to believe that Nottingham Forest can qualify for the Champions League? Are we starting to believe that Nottingham Forest can be Premier League champions, right? Look, maybe not. But if you've got 34 points after 18 games and you're only 1 point behind Chelsea and you're miles in front of Man City, and you can see Liverpool, who you've beaten at Anfield this season, just above you, and Liverpool are going to drop points between now and the end of the campaign. Have drawn 2 of their last 5. Why not? And then Forest need to deal with that pressure because we're all taking them seriously now, and we absolutely were not a few weeks ago. So in terms of this game, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see it end a draw, 3.36. I think these are two teams that aren't going to have many shots. And so I'd look at the under 15 shots in the game market, and I'd look at the draw at 3.36. 0-0, I picked out for the City game for Everton. It was 17s. I was so close. Look at it again. For Everton, 0-0, because they've drawn 0-0 in, what was it, 4 of their last 6 or 7 now. So always look at 0-0 for Everton. Always look at 1-1 for Everton. Draw at 3.36 is nice. If Forest win it, they'll win with under 2.5 goals in this match. They are not big scorers, nor are Everton. Forest have scored 24 goals this season. Everton on 15. I wouldn't expect too many goals here. But Forest, yeah, if they win this, let's have another chat next week.
All right, people asking, the odds on Nottingham Forest, you can see, guys, it's 2.93 for a Forest win. But yeah, mostly people asking or pointing to the under 2.5 goals market. Daniela, producer, pointed at 75% chance for under 2.6 goals in these games, according to Oddspedia's betting stats, 1.6 for that. Goals under 2, if we go for that 0-0 that Tom is pointing, or at least what Everton results have been so far. Goals under 2 has odds of 2.3, if I'm not wrong. Goals under 2.5 on its own, odds of 1.6. That is Everton, Nottingham Forest. Next is Fulham, Bournemouth, Tom. If with Everton, Forest, I thought of goals under straight away. In this one, I could only think maybe of goals over 2.5. The campaign for Fulham is extraordinary. If they would have won that game against Southampton, which ended in a 0-0 in Craven Cottage, they will be fifth by now. Last night with Chelsea, they leave it late and they won it from behind. 6 matches without defeats for them, 2 wins and 4 draws in that run. Marco Silva has rebuilt for sure his reputation in the Premier League after that sacking in Everton like almost 5 years ago. Bournemouth is sitting 1 point above Fulham, also unbeaten in the last 6, although they have won more games, 4 in that run. Against Palace yesterday, maybe was the least entertaining of the Bournemouth game at the Vitality so far this campaign, and it was the first time in 11 matches they have not scored at home. But away from home, Tom, for Bournemouth, 3 consecutive wins: Wolverhampton, Ipswich, Manchester United. Can they make it 4?
Yeah, every chance here. This is probably the most unpredictable game of everything we've got in this slate of matches. And I think that Bournemouth, are the 5th best team away from home in the Premier League this season, racking up wins that you've just listed. I mean, look, let's start with Fulham. I think that the win against Chelsea was spectacular. Their first win at Stamford Bridge, their local rivals in London, for 50-odd years, 1970-odd, 1979 maybe was the last time they won at Stamford Bridge. So huge
1979, yes.
A huge achievement for them. And look, it was a very even game. I don't think they were the kind of sort of better team against Chelsea. They were both on par with each other, which is a huge compliment to Fulham, considering Chelsea are second in the table right now. But what Fulham have is this great ability to score late in games. So if you're betting on Fulham here to win, look at the late goal market. Goals scored between 80 and 90. Both these teams, by the way, right up there in the top 5 in terms of late goals scored in the Premier League this season. So maybe look at the draw at half-time and pick your winner for the second half here, because they both grow stronger as the game goes on. I think the concern for me with Fulham continues to be lack of squad depth. Anthony Robinson, who's been tremendous at fullback this season, suspended for this game for yellow cards. Smith Rowe continues to be unavailable for them. Reece Nelson continues to be unavailable. Kenny Tete, Harrison Reed, Sander Berg. Like, not the most important players, bar maybe Robinson, but there isn't really much to come in. It's a very, very small squad they have, and he likes to rotate in-game, as we saw against Chelsea. Wilson coming on late, Muniz coming on for Jimenez, or vice versa. So that could potentially be a concern for Fulham. But look, it's a glory season, so forget about concerns. You know, let's have some fun and enjoy the way Fulham have played this season. The career rejuvenation of 𝐿𝐿𝐴 has been one of the best stories of the season. Never seen him play like this. Never seen him play as good as this. Never thought he could be as good as this. We've known 𝐿𝐴 for a decade. And, like, this is not the 𝐿𝐿𝐴 that Frank Lampard thought was a defensive midfielder. This is one of the most exciting attacking wingers in the league. So loads of positivity there. in terms of Bournemouth, their absentee list remains gargantuan. It's amazing they do what they do. 𝐿𝐵 suspended here. Smith, Scott, Araujo, Sinisterra, Senesi missing, Tavernier as well. Love Howson at centre-half, the young centre-half signed from Juventus. He's been fantastic. Evan Nielsen. Goals were dried up a bit, but he's linking the play superbly. Semenyo playing good. Tyler Adams, really good player, Tyler Adams. He's a bit like a better Ryan Yates at Forest because he'll boot you off the field, but can also find a pass, unlike Ryan Yates. And that's really important for Bournemouth. They can be ugly when they need to be. Loads of great features there for both of these teams. That all being said, looks like a draw to me. 3.8 for the draw. Love that. Fulham have drawn 3 of their last 5. Including the game against Southampton, where they were somewhat underwhelming. Bournemouth 2 draws in their last 5 as well, including against Palace and against West Ham. So screams draw to me, frankly. If you pick a winner in the second half. Half-time, draw. Second half, pick your winner. You'll double your money on that. If it were me, I'd shade for Fulham.
Levy saying Bournemouth Asian handicap plus 0.25. That has also 1.85, I believe. Dan asking if we have a podcast version where we can write that one on our to-do list, maybe a New Year's resolution to have a podcast with the shows. As well, Daniel pointing 75% chance for over 9.5 corners. Again, according to Oddspedia's betting stats, that is in 𝐿𝐵 Fulham against Bournemouth. We move into Tottenham against Wolverhampton. Tom, already 9 defeats for Tottenham in the season. Yes, they enjoy 70% possession, I believe, yesterday against Nottingham Forest, but they produce little danger. Postecoglou's numbers are worse than Tottenham had with Mourinho or Conte after 18 months in charge. I might be wrong here, but if Guardiola and City weren't going through a very awful run of results, Postecoglou would have been in a more critical situation, because I think that City's situation with injuries has in a way given Tottenham this platform to argue that, well, look what injuries can cause to any club to have a run of form like this. Of course, Guardiola's credit in the bank is different to the one that Postecoglou has. But anyway, now it's Wolverhampton visiting at the back of 2 consecutive wins with the new manager, with Vitor Pereira, 2 consecutive clean sheets as well for them. Only in the Molineux, we have more goals this season than the 40 goals we have seen at the Tottenham Stadium. Should we expect more of the same goals in this one? And I don't know if I will take it, Tom, but Wolves on 4.7 for a win. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's got up to 5.10 now,
more.
which I'm quite
5.10, yes.
by.
And I can say now on the screen.
That may grow and grow and grow, because people will lump on Tottenham because they're favourites, one of the big 6 at home. That kind of happens. So late for Wolves here if you want to break for them. But look, I mean, Tottenham, I want to have some fun with them, like people are having some fun with them. But they're having to play Archie Gray at centre-half with Radu Dragusin, who's also now injured, came off in the game. So they're absentees for this game. Jed Spence got sent off, right? We've barely seen him, and now he can't play. Davis, Romero, Vicario, Van de Ven, likely Dragusin, who got injured. There's no one left. There's Pedro Porro, there's Udogie, and there's a bare cupboard. Maybe you can play Bissouma, maybe you can play Pape-Sarr. We'll see what they do. But, they don't have any sort of backup players of the comparative quality of the first choice group of Romero, Vicario, Van de Ven, and even the second group are out. So where does that leave you? The best teams in the country losing their best defense and their backup defense at this stage of the season, where the games are every 48 hours for 2 weeks. No, I'm sorry. No one could cope with that. I know it's a bad record. Nobody could cope with what Ange Postecoglou is currently doing. And he's trying to get through it by scoring goals. And they're struggling in away games. Think of Bournemouth and think of Palace and think of Forest this week. But at home, that is not the case. And with Kulusevski and with Brennan Johnson and with Son Heung-min and with Dominic Solanke and with James Maddison and all the players they've got offensively, their best form of defense is offense, and they will score multiple goals in this game. Of that, I have no doubt. At home this season, you mentioned it, the amount of goals they have scored is incredible. 23 goals scored in 9 is just wild. 17 conceded is not so great, but that's a really, really terrific record. 39 goals scored home and away this season for Spurs, so they will score. In terms of Wolves, would they have beaten Leicester with Gary O'Neill in charge? I think probably. Leicester are really bad. Would they have beat Man United? Yeah, maybe, because Man United are really bad. I mean, who knows, right? We'll never know. At this point, Vitor Pereira hasn't brought anything new because he's been there for such a short space of time, except for a new voice and maybe a feel that, wow, either players didn't like Gary O'Neill on his team, or maybe they just needed a new voice, right? Who knows how it works sometimes, but it's a proper new manager bounce. There is bon vivre about some Wolves players, specifically Matheus Cunha, who scored the Olympico corner goal against Man United. Hwang being back makes a big difference because you've got someone there to score the late chance when it comes. He's been missing for a long, long time. I still think defensively Wolves are bad. I think that's a poor lineup. I think their goalkeepers are pretty average. That's going to see lots of goals conceded, 40 already conceded this season. So goals, 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 the order of the day in this one. For me, take the Spurs win at 1.63. Spurs win and both teams to score. That doubles your money and feels like an easy win for me because both teams can score and Spurs have these defensive issues. I'd be looking at the over market, over 3.5 goals in this game. Tottenham to win. That doubles your money.
And Levy saying I'm lost with Tottenham. Cliff over 4.5 goals in this one. Wolves are terrible. Tottenham and over 3.5 goals. So yes, everyone pointing to the goals over and especially goals over 3 at the very least. That was Tottenham Wolverhampton. The last on Sunday matches, Tom, is West Ham Liverpool. It was not the first time that Arne Slot corrected things at the break to change the direction of a game for Liverpool, because in the first half they dominated possession, but they haven't tested too much Leicester goalkeeper. But a goal at the brink of halftime and then a goal after it made it everything easier for Liverpool. They have 7 points gap at the top with the game in hand. There have been 23 goals in the last 5 head-to-head in all competitions between West Ham and Liverpool. Tom, 4 wins for Liverpool and 17 of those 23 goals have been scored by them. 2 wins and 2 draws for West Ham anyway in the last 4 Premier League matches. Is that giving you any confidence going on to Sunday game?
No, not at all. I think all right. West Ham are having a continuously irrelevant season. They are nothing. They're not good. They're not bad. They don't attack. They don't defend well. They're just bland, completely bland. 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐿 has brought nothing to West Ham at all in his 7-8 months in charge. And I still can't quite work out what he's trying to do or what the team are. And I think that all we do is do like Lopetegui roulette for the team every week. You don't know what the formation is going to be. Suddenly they're doing 4-1-4-1 against Southampton. When did that become a thing? That's not the formation they've been playing all season. He did it at Forest. He just like, it's almost like he's got that Men in Black thing where you can wipe your memory, but he does it to himself every Sunday and forgets everything he's learned from the weekend. And then we just start afresh the following week. I just can't wait for him to go, frankly. They're going to see the season through. I don't want another Lopetegui season. Just no more. Anyway, the results have been okay the last couple of weeks. The performance against Southampton was dreadful, but they got the win, and that's what matters. The performance against Brighton was dreadful, but they held on well for a point in that game. You've got to give them credit there. They fought for that point and got it. The performance against Bournemouth was dreadful, but they got a point thanks to the 𝗵𝗵𝗏 penalty. Maybe could have won it. And the performance against Wolves was dreadful, but they got a 2-1 victory there. And the performance against Leicester to have 30 shots and not win, dreadful. So, look, decent run of results, nothing performances. And beyond Jarrod Bowen, I don't really know if there's any player that comes out of this season with much credit. In terms of this game, there's a suspension for Tomáš Souček, who is very important for West Ham. He's been involved in almost every goal they've scored in recent weeks and months, Tomáš Souček. So him missing is huge for West Ham. I think only Gabriel has scored more from corners since they both joined the Premier League. So huge loss there. Soler is missing too, but yeah, okay. 𝗵𝗵𝗏 is going to come in for him. He's been atrocious this season, Lucas 𝗵𝗵𝗏, like truly just nothing campaign from him. So it's a midfield of Edson Alvarez, 𝗵𝗵𝗏 and another. Guess we'll see who it's going to be. Hopefully not Guido Rodriguez. But look, it's irrelevant, really. Fabianski's going to be out as well. He's got a concussion. So Areola's going to start. He's not been great this campaign, but kind of irrelevant, really. They kind of play with 8 or 9 men at times. Kudus looks disinterested. Fulkrug looks like a 75-year-old man. I could go on. Look, Liverpool, they struggled first half against Leicester. They did. And they've struggled a lot in games this season to get going in matches. They've fallen behind in 6 matches in the Premier League this season, including last night. Only Nottingham Forest, they didn't get anything from. The rest they've come back in. It's become a speciality of Liverpool for a long, long time to have to keep coming from behind. Alexander-Arnold looks off form. Szoboszlai is suspended here. He came on and got booked, so it means it'll be Curtis Jones and McAllister and Gravenberch, I'd imagine, as the midfield 3. But look, Salah's on red-hot form, scored a great goal again in the victory against Leicester. He was brilliant against Tottenham. You add that to probably Luis Diaz coming back in to replace Darwin Núñez or whoever else played. 𝐿𝐵𝗲𝗄, I think it was yesterday.
Yep. Yeah.
So I expect Liverpool to win and win reasonably comfortably. Look at Liverpool win at 1.44. Take that. I think West Ham could nick a goal. You mentioned the goals there for both teams. I think a couple of times at Anfield it's finished 5-1. Wouldn't be surprised to see a scoreline like that. So Liverpool win both teams to score. I would take that. And Liverpool to score 3 goals or more in this match. Plus, as ever with Liverpool, it came in against Tottenham. It came in against Leicester. Came in against Southampton. Salah scores and Liverpool win. It's 16 goals for the season. 11 assists on top of that. Yeah. Salah to be involved in a Liverpool win is always worth a bet.
Absolutely. Salah to score any time on its own is almost odds of 2 for this game. 𝗀𝗵𝗄, Salah the best in the world, and also the West Ham is dull. So many good players, but it's not working together. 𝗻𝐵𝗄𝗄 Spaghetti pointing to this is a Liverpool both team to score and a -1 Asian handicap for Liverpool. So that will be the last game on Sunday. Then on Monday, we got 3 matches, and the first one of those is Aston Villa Brighton. Villa yesterday, Tom, was dreadful against Newcastle, conceding after 1 minute, and they got lucky. I believe that the defeat was only 3-0. Of course, they have gone down to 10 men after the Durant red card, but even before that, Villa was not having the level of performance we have seen against Manchester City. A little bit inconsistent this season, but of course, understandably so when they are playing as well Champions League football. They lost 5 of their last 9 matches, when in the first 9 match days they have only lost once, 11 points worse off than the last season at this same stage. But at Villa Park, things are different. They collected so far 18 points, which is 4 points less than Liverpool, for example, at Anfield. Brighton is playing tonight against Brentford. They are 5 without a win. Hurselar's team. Is Villa to win here good enough for you, Tom?
Yeah, I'll take Villa. 1.95 is quite nice as well for a straight up and down Villa win. I think you mentioned the home form there. It's been terrific. Just 1 defeat all season. That was against Arsenal in the first or second round of the Premier League this season. At home, they are very tough to beat. 5 victories is good. They're averaging around 2 goals a game. So I think it's 1.7 goals per game. No Duran in this game, suspended. I have no sympathy with John Duran. He 100%, in my opinion, tried to kick the Newcastle player on the floor. I'm not having all this. Oh, it's an accident. It wasn't. You're lying to yourself. He tried to boot him. He got the ump and he tried to boot him. He's an emotional player, is John Duran. And that is one of the issues with him and why he's sometimes flavor of the month and other times he's difficult to work with. It's just, he's one of those guys. Nothing you can do about it. You're going to have to take things like this if you're also going to get the 30-yard screamers that he scored this season. So that's an issue. But Ollie Watkins comes back in, and I don't think that's any great issue there. And I think that defensively, they're still trying to work out what the best group is with everybody being fit. I'd imagine this game, all being well, it'll be Pau Torres. It'll be Konsa back at right back as Cash is suspended. Tyrone Mings if fit. And Luca Digne likely on the left-hand side. That's their strongest defensive lineup for me. Midfield looks strong. Offense is strong. I think they just miss a bit of wide player rotation this season, Villa. They've had Leon Bailey in and out, but to lose Diaby in the summer and not really replace him, I think has been an issue for Villa in terms of having someone who can come on and change the game or start well and be replaced. So that'd be my concern. In terms of Brighton, I mean, they played well at West Ham, right? That was the last Brighton game that I saw, but I don't think they deserved to win. You know, they created chances, but were there many amazing chances that they hit the post late on? Beyond that, I think the goal shouldn't have stood. Clear foul by Lewis Dunk on 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝐿. Didn't create gilt-edged chances. I think what you've got here with Brighton, and you'll see this over and over and over again, is so much willing and so much growth, but no finished article. And when they get to finished article, they sign for Chelsea. And you see that with a lot of these players in 𝐿𝐵𝗵𝗲 and Minte on the wing and one or two others, João Pedro. It's getting every couple of months, you can see marked improvement. But are they guaranteed winners at this stage? They are not. When they get there, they will be sold. That is the model. Struggling to win at the moment, struggling to keep clean sheets at the moment, just struggling for identity really at the moment under 𝗏𝗏𝗀, who is not a De Zerbi all-out attack, or he's not a Potter all-out possession. I think he's a bit more of a Marco Silva. I don't think there is a 𝗏𝗏𝗀 way of playing football, but I think the club have a way of running it, and that's going to be interesting to see when the rubber meets the road on that one. But I think Brighton are going to be safely in mid-table, not European qualifiers this season, but they'll lose this game. Villa win at 1.95. Villa to win, and I would suggest a low scoreline here, considering how results have gone for both teams recently, maybe a touch nervy. So Villa at under 2.5. And look at the Watkins market. If they are going to score, Ollie Watkins will be involved. John Duran suspended, so he might even play 90 minutes here. Watkins scores, Villa win.
Yes, 𝗀𝗏𝗃 not impressed with Brighton so far as a team. Good odds for Villa to win, and I agree. Aaron Marak over 4.5 goals. That for me as well seems a little bit too much on this one. The next one we got, Tom, is Ipswich at home against Chelsea. Ipswich playing tonight against Arsenal. They're in the relegation zone, of course. They're winless at home in 9 matches with only 6 goals scored. The last 3 home games have been all defeats. Of course, yes, Chelsea was very poor yesterday against Fulham. No intensity, but Palmer again scoring as almost always, especially at Stamford Bridge. 12th goal of the season for him, 34 goals in 51 Premier League games so far since the start of last season. Would you combine Chelsea to win with goals, or with Palmer to score or to assist anytime?
Yeah, look, I think Chelsea are going to win in all sorts of ways here. And there's money to be made on the form, and also money to be made on the goals as well. But look, briefly on Ipswich, they haven't got a Premier League squad, right? It's been the story all season. We said this lots of times now, and you can play a certain way until you're blue in the face. It's about grinding out results at this point of the league season. Any way you can. Get points on the board. Get to 20 at the halfway stage. Give yourself a chance. And they just have not done that. They concede far, far, far too many goals. They haven't won at home. The home record is going to be absolutely crucial. It's 32 goals conceded. And as you mentioned, the home form this season, 4 draws and 5 defeats, nowhere near good enough. In the last 5 games, they've conceded in every single one of them. Even the game they won against Wolves was a kind of last moment smash and grab. They are not going to be staying in the Premier League. And I think 1 or 2 players, Liam Delap, might stay. Beyond that, no one's going to come back. And that's maybe part of the plan. Take the Premier League money, go back down again and rebuild again with a really good manager in charge at that level. Yeah, absolutely. And have another go next time around. But I wouldn't really have much faith in them here. And in terms of Chelsea, look, were they great against Fulham? Not really. Not particularly good in the game before that against Everton. Struggled against Brentford. So just having a little blip at the moment, Chelsea. And look, Enzo Maresca told us this would happen. We all sort of felt it would happen because it is a young squad. And even though it's gargantuan, not a great deal of experience under pressure when it comes to winning in this squad. And you maybe see that in moments like against Fulham. Maybe in Maresca as well. Like at 1-1 against Fulham, when they were clearly tiring and Fulham were getting stronger. Could they have dropped off another 20 yards and seen that game out and respected the point, as Sam Allardyce might have said? Yeah, maybe. It's not what Enzo Maresca's going to do. It's not what these players are going to do. And it cost them, but it's also won them games this season. So, rough with the smooth. But in terms of this game, no one significantly injured for either. I mean, you could mention Reece James if you like, but he's always out. You look at, I think, Chelsea to win here quite comfortably. I've taken the Chelsea win up and down at 1.47. Chelsea to score 3 goals in this game with my second tip here, because they have scored a lot of goals this season. Most of them have come away from home, weirdly. 38 goals scored for Chelsea across the campaign. Away from home, it's 23 goals scored. 5 against Southampton. They scored 3 against West Ham. There was another 6 in there, I think, against Wolves earlier in the season. lots of goals scored away from home. So Chelsea to score lots of goals here. And as ever, take Palmer to score and Chelsea win. And that doubles your money.
Amazing. And now the one before the last, Tom, is in Old Trafford, Manchester United, Newcastle, another defeat for Manchester United last night, this time against Wolverhampton. 4 defeats in the last 5 Premier League games for them, 7 points from a possible 21 under Ruben Amorim. Another goal scored from a set piece against Manchester United. That was the 6th time in the last 5 games with Amorim that the opposition scored with a set piece. And then Newcastle, Tom, judging by their current form and their win in Boxing Day and how they done it against Aston Villa, looking at the odds for them, 2.54. Looks absolutely all right to me. They climbed to 5th, 3 consecutive wins for them, and 10 goals scored in that run. How do you see it?
Newcastle win, 2.54.
All right.
Absolutely. Take that all day. The run of form they are on, 4-0 against Leicester, 3-1 against Brentford, 4-0 against Ipswich, 3-0 against Villa. You know, a few weeks ago, around the Brentford game, maybe just before that, what was missing for Newcastle was goals. Right, they were conceding, not too many. The midfield looked all right, bit off form. But Alexander Isak had come back and looked real rusty. And he wasn't firing. And Callum Wilson's been injured all season. Gordon looked like he was off form. Harvey Barnes wasn't scoring. And we were a bit like, ooh, something's gone wrong at Newcastle. Like, what's happening here? And then suddenly Alexander Isak, who is as close to world class as you're going to get, without quite being in that group. He is the very best of the second tier of players in European football and has every chance of going on, in my opinion, of becoming the best striker in Europe. I think he's absolutely incredible. Growth there that's needed, but he's got everything. Pacing behind, incredible ball control, intelligence, scores all sorts of goals. You name it, he's got it. And I think Newcastle with him have got every chance of making the top 4 this season. And every chance of winning at Old Trafford, something they've done a couple of times in recent years, whereas they've not done it for a long time, and now it's become a happy hunting ground for them. And what do we say about Manchester United at this point? Like, the criticism of their players from their own sort of supporters and journalists and media types, I think is massively overblown in terms of this squad is not good enough. This squad is not good enough. It's quite good. Like, let's not go wild here. It's not like Man City or Liverpool, but it's not lose 2-0 at Wolves, lose 3-0 against Bournemouth, lose 4-3 against Tottenham bad. Like, they did beat Man City only like 3 weeks ago, right? So I think what you've got here is Ruben Amorim has come in. I wonder if he regrets that decision, considering that as one of the hottest coaches in Europe, he probably would have got a big job at some point. Is this a big job at this moment in time? I'm not sure it's as, he might be the next City manager. He might have been the next Liverpool manager in a couple of years' time, right? Who knows? Could be the next Chelsea manager after Enzo Maresca. Could have got a job at Madrid or something if Sporting go on to win the league and win the league again, right? Like that's what he was aiming at. And he's taken a Man United side on a massive slide, somehow needing another rebuild after doing a rebuild. And he's also, what's surprising me is that he's getting a huge free hit here. Like, if 𝐿𝗵𝗿𝗀, for example, got sacked at West Ham, his replacement results, if they were like this, would not have been acceptable, right? And yet, Ruben Amorim is getting a pass on this to a degree because he's building something. Like, right now, Man United sit just above the relegation battle. I don't think they're going to go down, right? But the first team in the relegation battle is Everton on 15. In 15th on 17 points. Man United are just above them. They're the first team from not in the relegation battle, but it's bottom of mid-table, essentially. Wow. Like, wow. Yeah. What is happening here? Amorim is doing his formation come hell or high water. He's not in any way being pragmatic with his team. He's lost Bruno Fernandes to his 3rd sending off in all competitions this season. Højlund can't score. He can't get on with Marcus Rashford. I don't know what's happening there. He's playing the back 3, even though it's not working. Onana has suddenly lost all his confidence again. I mean, it's all just crumbling again for Manchester United. And I don't know currently if Ruben Amorim has brought anything positive to Manchester United. Maybe he will in the long term, but I don't know. They've got to start getting some results, and I don't see them getting one here. Wouldn't fancy them with Bruno Fernandes. Without him, absolutely not. Take Newcastle to win at the odds available at 2.54. And also, look at Newcastle to score from set pieces. I imagine Newcastle will aim for corners because everyone is right now. Look at 8 or more corners for Newcastle. Look at over 12 in the game and look at the guys who can score from corners. Isak, Burn, Cher, Joelinton, loads of guys who can score from corners, and I expect them to do so. And I might even look at the handicap. Minus 1.5 for Newcastle. They win by 2 or 3. Bournemouth style, big win. I'm going for it.
Before you said that, someone was pointing Mom's Spaghetti in the comments. 3-0 Newcastle, actually. Now that you just mentioned the Asian handicap, minus 1.5 for Newcastle. Newcastle and both seem to score, as Levy's saying. That has odds as well above 3. And the last one, Tom, to analyze on this match day 19 in the Premier League is Brentford Arsenal. On Wednesday, that will be the first Premier League match of 2025. They both play tonight. Brentford away with Brighton and Arsenal at home against Ipswich. Brentford might continue maybe struggling from home in the Amex, and Arsenal should climb to second with a win tonight against Ipswich. Brentford is not anymore the best home team of the league after the defeat with Newcastle. Anyway, 7 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat for them in 9 games at the 𝐷𝗵𝗋. At home, for Brentford, 8 of the 9 games have been both teams to score. Will you go that way against Arsenal as well?
I don't know. I'm flaking a bit on Brentford. I'm flaking a bit because the amount of players they have missing right now is extraordinary. Just a list of some of them, not all of them. We've not got the time for the whole list, but 𝐻𝐿𝐴, 𝐿𝐵𝗿𝗄, Thiago, De Silva, 𝐬𝐿𝐴, Jensen, Henry, Roslev, Vandenberg. A couple of those players might come back for this, but not many. So they're going to have 6, 7, 8 players out going into this game. I mean, it's tough at any time to have that many players missing over Christmas with games coming and coming and coming. Arsenal at home to come after a tough away game. That's difficult for Brentford, who, look, I think they were poor in their last home defeat. I think that 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻 and Brian Mbeumo look likely to score in most games, but if they don't, there's not much else in the tank. They're not scoring set pieces. They had that great run of scoring early. That's now gone. And if you get 30, 40 minutes into the game with Brentford, I think you've got them tamed. And I think that's the important thing here. If Arsenal navigate the first half an hour, I can see Arsenal going on to win quite comfortably, which is what we saw in Brentford's last home game. So I've got my concerns there. They're not going to go down, Brentford, but with the injuries they've got and the quality of opponent, they're going to struggle here. In terms of Arsenal, the goals have come back, and that's great news for Arsenal because that has been missing. 5 against Crystal Palace. They got, of course, a load of goals in the Champions League before that came to its end. We were concerned when they couldn't score against Everton. We were concerned when they couldn't score against Fulham. Great to see the goals come back in the cup against Palace as well. There was, 4? Was it 3 or 4 in the victory there? So, look, that's really important. But losing Bukayo Saka is monumental. He's not only their best player, he is their most pivotal player. He is their top scorer. He is their biggest threat. In a game that's quiet, he gets them out of a hole. In a game they should win, he normally creates all the chances. And so a front group of Jesus, Havertz, and Martinelli, maybe something like that. Trossard in for Havertz or something. No, I don't think that's a title-winning front group. Bukayo Saka is your world-class player, and you notice without Saka, they ain't got many of the real top players. Arsenal offensively, defensively, Gabriel, Saliba, sure. Maybe the keeper at a push, Declan Rice in defensive midfield, if he ever played there anymore, maybe at a push. Offensively, it's not a really amazing group of players you can lean on with Saka missing. That would be my only concern for Arsenal in this game and in the coming weeks with Bukayo Saka missing. But look, take the Arsenal win here at 1.55. I think you have to, considering the quality they have. Look at the underscore lines here. I think Arsenal win to 0. I always like that bet because they have built so much of what they do on the quality of their defense. It's under 1 goal per game conceded. 16 goals in 17 games, which is really, really good. Arsenal tight, under 2.5, clean sheet, and as ever, we're still looking at corners. Gabriel to score from 1 is around 9.
Andrijos was saying Merry Christmas. Arsenal win and will be Brentford's second loss at home. He's going for a 1-3 win for Arsenal. And before we go, Tom, and we go through your safe bet and ACCA, they are asking as well on the comment section if who you think will win the league. We are halfway, or we're going to be halfway of the season so far. My take is Liverpool. I won't change. I think we are pointing that direction. I don't know if you see it the same.
Yeah, look, at this point, to be as clear as they are, it would be surprising if they were to lose 3 or 4 in a
Oh.
row, which they would need to do to not win the league this season. So Liverpool, yes. And the other contender, I still think of Chelsea. I think the squad is terrific. They're going to drop points, but they would need Liverpool from this point to lose 4 more games. If they lose 4 games, Liverpool, to 5 defeats across the season, every chance there's another winner. But if anyone can tell me where those 4 losses are going to come, I'd love to hear it, because I just don't see it right now. So Liverpool or Chelsea for me. I discount Forest, even though I'd love to see it. I have huge doubts about Arsenal. Beyond that, no one likes me.
Amazing. All right, that's absolutely everything you need to know for match day 19 in the Premier League. Guys, remember that you can participate in our monthly tipster competition. We are finishing December, but January is coming, and you can start from the very beginning and win cash prizes. You can also challenge your friends and compete in our new rivals contest. If someone is looking for a good bet, Tom, which one would be your safe bet here?
Safe bet is Chelsea to win at Ipswich. Anyone playing Leicester, Ipswich, or Southampton is going to be my safe bet for the rest of this season. Is Chelsea up this week at 1.4?
Lovely. And what's your ACCA, Tom?
3-team ACCA, Chelsea in it, obviously, because they are up against Ipswich Town. Aston Villa, really like the look of them to win this weekend at home against Brighton, who've been struggling. I know this is risky, but put Tottenham in there as well against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are still poor. Brings you at 4.07. The double came in a couple of days ago, so I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling brave. I'm putting Tottenham in for 4.07.
Tom, thanks a lot. Amazing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave us your comments in the video, your tips, your ACCAs. Now, many thanks, and bye-bye. Thank you.